So I'll tell you what's going down.
And so we watched it yesterday, but it didn't actually turn out how we thought it was gonna be. Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy.
And today we're going to be talking about the movie My Son Hunter, which came out yesterday. We just watched it, we paid for it and everything, and we kind of want to review it because we have some thoughts.
I think I seen the trailer about a month ago. Tim Pool talked about it in passing, and I immediately went to YouTube to check it out, and I was utterly impressed by it. It had an epic trailer right before an election. I thought this was perfect. The right was stealing the culture, everything we needed. So I instantly went to the mysonhunter.com website and bought my pre-advanced copy, and then I waited for a month.
And so we watched it yesterday, but it didn't actually turn out how we thought it was going to be. It kind of really looked like a drama in the trailer. I wasn't that invested in it. I came into it with no expectations because I barely saw the trailer. But he was really excited about it, so I was like, sure, we'll check it out. And it wasn't really a drama, and it wasn't really a comedy. I think Tim Pool had the director a week ago, and he was talking about how it's a mix between drama and comedy, but in the end, I just think it tried to be everything at once, but it turned out to be not much at all.
Yeah, it was proposed to be a drama, biopic, and comedy. I think they should have either went drama or comedy and just went full-fledged into it. But we'll talk about the good points before we get into the bad points, because it had a lot of bad points. But the trailer, like I said before, was amazing. And if you haven't seen it yet, I do recommend you go watch the trailer. Also, the actor that played Hunter Biden was absolutely phenomenal. I had never seen him before. I think Nat had heard of him, but
yeah, he's actually called Laurence Fox. He's a British actor, and he's been in pretty good shows and movies, especially in Britain, but lately he's become not lately, but he brought out his political side as of late, and he had this whole story about this guy that got arrested for posting or resharing an image that looked like a Nazi flag. It was a whole thing, but he's becoming pretty invested into politics, and I think he took this opportunity and ran with it because he wants to fight back, as very few actors do nowadays.
And I mean, the subject matter was very inspirational. I like the fact that they took the risk right before election, went to uncover this story that just wasn't going to be told by mainstream Hollywood or anywhere else. Other than that, I didn't have too much good to say. Did you have anything good else to say before we get to the bad?
Well, I mean, I do think that the comedy bits are good. It is in a very, this is the end sort of sitcom-y style, and the music choice is interesting, but I think it would have worked if it was just a comedy, or if it was just a drama, then the dramatic music and the dramatic elements would have worked. But again, it's trying to be many things at once. I think the comedy bits, some of them were accessible, even if you didn't know the intricate details about where that joke comes from or where Biden's gaffe comes from. But in the end, I think, it was just too many jokes that a lot of people weren't going to get. I know quite a bit about this story, and I didn't get a lot of the gaffes. I mean, I knew they were gaffes, but I just didn't remember what point they were set in. So I think the one good bit is if it was a drama, the drama parts were good. If it was a comedy, the comedy parts were good, but it's just too mishmashed together.
Okay, now let's get to the bad parts. I felt this movie was 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound box. Now, what do I mean by that? It did too much and not enough all at the same time. It tried to put every single fact about the Hunter Biden laptop into this movie, and they were just drilling fact after fact after fact after fact, and they didn't even weave it into the story. It had lazy story making. It had no script writing. It was basically a character in a room telling another character what was in the laptop, and then Hunter Biden would go to the next character and be in another room and tell him what was in the laptop. I would have really liked have a little bit more eloquence in the storytelling, really focus in on one or two facts maybe less on the drugs and the women and more on Ukraine and China, because those are the things that you can really nail the Bidens with, that I don't think have been focused in on from this laptop as much as they could have been.
Yeah, and I mean, we were saying earlier today while we were watching it even that it could have been a good series, like one of those, I mean, not from Netflix, but one of those 3 to 4 chapter series that focuses on one thing at a time. And it could also have been a documentary with like reenactments. You have this great actor that can do reenactments, and that way you don't have to have Gina Carano staring at the screen for minutes on end just telling you things, and then having the girl on end telling you things, and then having Hunter on end telling you things too. I mean, I get the whole trying to break the fourth wall, but doing it that much as a storytelling device gets a little bit old and a little bit tiring. Like a quip here and there would have been good, but again, as a documentary with the facts, and that you do one chapter per fact, one Ukraine chapter, one drugs and women chapter, etc., that would have been a good way to A, make it a bit longer, and B, really get into the details that they kind of just wanted to throw out there and just plastered it all over the film without a really cohesive or concise method of telling those things. It would have been much better as a documentary, I think, with reenactments by Laurence Fox and all these other actors. But that way you get to put all the facts in, but also you get to have something that's not trying to be everything at once.
And it reminded me when you brought up Gina Carano, she shouldn't have been in the movie. I mean, I'm a big fan of hers, a really big fan, but they wrote her in. There was no part for her in there naturally in the script, so they wrote her in, and she's looking at the camera and just saying things, breaking down the fourth wall, which is just, it's off-putting. It was off-putting to me anyway, watching the movie. If there would have been a viable part that would have been naturally fit her character, it would have been great, because I would have loved her to see her in the movie, but they just kind of writ her in to the movie, or wrote her into the movie in order to put her in the trailer and to put Gina Carano's name in the movie, I think.
And I mean, if it was, for example, a documentary or even a series, you can use her. You could have used her as the narrator and just have her narrate the whole thing, like the parts where you need narration. But to have her written as a character, and for it to be like one-off, and then there was a terrible moment with the green screen when they were in Ukraine, and you can tell the lighting is completely off. Some of the production aspects are also not really good, but it kind of, the way they put her in kind of just highlights many of the errors that we noticed in the film as well.
What else can we talk about here? I can talk about the production a little bit. I've worked in film for quite a few years, so it was good, because as soon as I heard about the movie, I went to Wikipedia to see how much money was invested in the movie, and they had almost a $3 million budget, which is fairly substantial, and it made me have a lot of hope for the movie, especially after watching the trailer. It looked like they had nailed it for $3 million. I was super excited to watch the movie. And then when you get the long form version, things just kind of fell apart. Certain parts felt overstaged. Other parts just didn't have enough grit to it. Kind of looked like a comedy, kind of looked like a drama, didn't know what it was. So I felt like some of the lighting was overly done. It was just a rushed job. I felt overall. I felt like it was a rushed script. They just rushed to make the movie, and I understand it's a time-sensitive movie because of the subject matter with Hunter Biden's laptop and the election coming up. And
that's why you make it a documentary, because you need A, less budget, and B, you can actually put all the stuff you want out there in a faster way, because you don't need to focus that much on the storytelling, because the storytelling is just said by the people you're interviewing.
Yeah, I mean, even if you would have just made it a series and begun the filming of the series and had a couple episodes really well scripted and just writing the other episodes as you're filming, I think you could have came up with a better script. It was just very, very, very dialogue heavy, of characters just talking about what's in the laptop instead of showing the story of what was in the laptop.
And I mean, many of the things in the laptop and a lot of the facts that they're putting out there have been out for a while. Like, if you knew you wanted it to come out before the elections, you can start filming in January, or you can start filming I mean, a lot of these things were already out there. A lot of the news stories they even used were already out there. So they could have taken the time, but it did seem like someone got an idea to make this, and let's just rush it through, and let's just use the old Hollywood way of producing things. Well, not old, the newer way of producing things, where every show basically looks like crap because they're using different unions and different people that have different skills, and it's not very put together. For example, the Daily Wire right now has they're building their own filmmaking outlet, and that allows them to actually produce content through the whole process and not just pick and choose people from here and from there, because it ends up looking like a mishmash if you don't have either the bigger budget or competent people in each field. So
I don't know if it was not about having competent people. They had the competent people. They had the budget.
But it was
They had people that were pushed out of Hollywood. So I think they just went after people that had good resumes, but were forced into a rush project. And I think that showed. I don't think it was anything to do with the people's competence itself, but I just feel...
I mean competence within this one film.
Yeah, well, I just feel like you said, the Daily Wire and even Glenn Beck with his studio, The Blaze,
yeah,
just have well-honed people that work for them, and I would have liked to see the Daily Wire or The Blaze had taken a shot at a movie like this. I mean, this was made by Breitbart, and I don't know what happened, but they definitely missed the mark. They hit the mark on the trailer, and...
yeah, and I mean, no hate to Breitbart, but it kind of explains a lot in my head that it is produced by Breitbart. Like, if you would have said this is Daily Wire, I would have said, well, it's kind of not the quality, but for some reason, production level wise, and like even the lighting, I would have even said, yeah, this could be Breitbart. Like, it made it pretty obvious that it was them. Yeah. In my head.
I mean, my favorite part of the movie was the main actor, and then when the credits rolled, they showed actual news clips of fake news outlets feeding you fake news, and that was by far my favorite part of the movie, which I think I would have maybe enjoyed a documentary style. And I know Glenn Beck's done a documentary on the Hunter Biden laptop, which, was enjoyable, but it's a lot of information to get in there. So if you had watched Glenn Beck's documentary or any documentary on the Hunter Biden laptop, as a filmmaker, you should have known it's too much information to get in a movie in a cohesive story. They should have just took one or two subject matters that were the big bombshells, like I said, Ukraine and China, and focused on those. Really made an emotional connection with the audience and the corruption going on with the CCP and the Biden family, going on with the Ukraine government, the biolabs, and Hunter Biden. If you can make emotional connection there, you have a real chance to get a real-world prosecution from this. But what they delivered was something, I don't know if much is going to come from it.
And I mean, with that much information in the movie, you would think, oh, it seems really long, and it's not even that long of a movie. It's about an hour and a half, but it feels really long because it's a lot of information, and I didn't know a lot of it. I knew some of it. I haven't really kept up with the story as much as when it came out, but again, if you want to put that much information in it, make a documentary, make a series documentary, make something else, make a YouTube video, I don't know. But to make it into a movie, you either have to choose to make it a comedy and kind of not forget, but not make the information that important, or make it a gritty drama and then put in some of the most pertinent information. Because again, if you are on the right wing or you're a conservative, you know all those facts already. But if you're a moderate, or if you're just interested in it, or even if you're a liberal that wants to hate on the movie, all the jokey parts and all the very inside jokes that they put in there, like the Biden gaffes and a lot of the things that have happened in real life, they're just either going to fly over your head, or you're going to be really off-put by it if you're not in on the joke, because you feel like you're being alienated by it.
Yeah, I mean, I think right-wing people that don't know a lot about the Hunter Biden laptop will enjoy the movie. So if you're one of those people that's casually into politics and right-wing, you'll probably like the movie. I would recommend it for a person like that. I would think a non-political moderate or a leftist will probably be off-put by a lot of the jokes and not like it. And I think that's why a dramatization would have worked better.
Yeah.
A good dramatization wouldn't have poked fun at the moderates or the leftists and could have kind of drawn them in and really revealed the facts of the Hunter Biden laptop in an emotional storytelling way, which hasn't been done yet.
And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what they do. Like, that's what the left always does. They always make fun and hate on the other side. And what everybody should want to be doing is bringing more people into your side, not doing the exact same thing the other side's doing and alienating about at least a third who are moderates.
Well, yeah, and
Because a lot of people would be pissed off. There's polls that say that people would have changed their votes if they knew about this back when it came out, right before the election, the presidential one. Right now, before the midterms, the last thing you want to be doing is alienating half of the people that you could actually be bringing on by making it a gritty drama and getting people upset about it and wanting to change things.
Well, they played with something near the end, and this is a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know the end, but they almost made Hunter Biden the good guy, which I kind of like that twist, and I didn't mind it at all because they framed it in such a way that he let the laptop leak on purpose because he was ashamed of himself and his family. And, you know, is that so far-fetched? I don't know, but he did lose 2 laptops and his sister did lose the diary. Maybe they're trying to take down that family and they're just tired of the corruption. I don't know. It's a possibility. It does kind of let you draw in the leftists and the moderates by taking that direction. But, you know, overall...
But it's at the end.
Yeah, it's at the end.
The whole movie would have turned off, like, in the first 5 minutes. Anybody who doesn't already agree with exactly every single point that they're saying would have probably turned it off.
Yeah, I mean, the actress that was playing counter to Hunter Biden, I just felt like she was a really weak actress as well. And, man, they nailed Hunter Biden, but every other character they didn't nail. Joe Biden, They should have made him skinnier. They should have made him less competent. And it's not to make him less competent to make fun of him, but he just seemed really competent and like a good president in the movie, which if you watch any of his live interviews or anything like that, he's nothing like that.
Yeah, and even on the campaign trail, which is what they were focusing on, all these gaps were already coming out. That's where it all started. So, I mean, don't focus so much just on one, because it becomes really obvious when you have a super strong actor and then everybody else is just kind of mumbling and bumbling around and either being really pretty or being the token black guy or being just the president that doesn't really look like it. If you had all these characters fleshed out a bit more, again, it would have drawn in more people to actually listen to what you're trying to tell them instead of just, oh, this is a bad actor, oh, this is a crappy joke, oh, I don't understand this, oh, this is too much information. Like, I see a lot of fall points for people turning it off, which is the last thing they would probably want to do before the elections.
Well,
the midterms.
In wrap, do you have anything to say to the people before we cut it?
Well, I mean, I guess watch it and see for yourself.
And I'd say definitely support it. I mean,
yeah.
Given I know it is a bad movie, and I've just said it's a bad movie. It's a great trailer. Watch the trailer, and it's a $20 movie. And it helps support Breitbart, who really helped President Trump get elected. So whatever we can do to support independent right-wing media, especially proven independent right-wing media, Breitbart is one of those organizations.
And not even right-wing, just alternative viewpoints, like not the mainstream. Just support anything that's not fed to you.
So even though it may not be the best movie, if you lend your financial support, hopefully they'll do it again and they'll get better and better and better each time. You're not going to hit the mark every single time, and they definitely didn't hit it this time. But I look forward to them trying again, and I please hope you do try again.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the first pancake. Everybody's first pancake goes a little wonky, so it's understandable. But yeah, support alternative media, support either any side, to support someone that has their opinions and does critical thinking, and Breitbart is one of them.
Also, before we do go, this film did emphasize the corruption that is going on, and Today's the 7th, and Steve Bannon just got indicted again, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, what they're doing to Trump and Steve Bannon and any MAGA politician is absolutely unbelievable. And this is Breitbart, and Steve Bannon used to work for Breitbart, so let's stick it to the man and just try to support Steve Bannon by supporting this movie, I guess. Okay, well, this is Nat and the Guy.
Like, subscribe, comment. We're a growing channel, and we do want to start bringing more content to anyone who wants to think critically and differently about the world that surrounds them. We live in the wokest city in the world, Vancouver, BC, so we have a lot of content coming up about the craziness that we're all living in. Thank you.
That's a wrap. We're burning daylight here, darling. I'm not.
I want to know everything that's on that laptop that can ruin my erection.